Good evening, Hema sister.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sister.
Welcome to the show.
Our guest speaker, Kavya Reddy ma'am, has arrived. She's already in the meet. So we'll be just starting in 3 minutes from now. Ma'am, shall we start? Mosmi ma'am, start up. Okay. Very good evening, everyone. Welcome to this third day of International Nutritional Webinar 2K22 being organized by the Department of Biochemistry, St. Joseph's College for Women. This is Dr. P. Mary Anupama, along with my colleague Dr. Mausmi Shankar Adala. We welcome you to this webinar. Today we have our guest speaker, Kavya Reddy ma'am, and my request, Mausmi ma'am, to please introduce the speaker. Over to Mausmi ma'am. Ma'am, please unmute yourself. Ma'am, just a minute. Can you please unmute your video also? Video. Yes, since presentation is not here. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, yes. Thank you.
So, as the motive states, its main motive is to provide safe, wholesome, and nutritious food to the people of the country. So, why? Why there is need to provide nutritious food? So, what is the need? So, why should we actually stress so much on this nutrition these days? See, basically, there is a saying that we are what we eat. So our healthness, our physical activities, fitness, whatever we do, emotional, physical, mental health is purely dependent on what we eat. So it's not that food is not just only to feed the hunger of the people. It's not only that feeds our hunger. It is the basic thing that provides us energy to do. It gives us mental strength to put on mind onto certain works and all. So as such, whatever we eat should be wholesome. It should include every nutrition aspect in it. Micro, macro nutrients itself. Both should be included in the food. Basically, the major problem that is being faced by India these days is malnutrition, be it overnutrition, undernutrition. So India is being facing on both sides of the coin. Some parts of the nation is having undernutrition, and some part is being faced with obesity as well. So recently also World Food Safety Index will be given every year. In the recent ranking, I'm very sad to say that we are in 106th position out of triple one nations. So we are in bottom 10 to the entire world. So this itself shows how lack we are, how backward we are in terms of consuming the nutritious food. So, what should we do? You basically, the youngsters who are going to modify and take forward the entire nation. So, as such, you people should be knowing the various aspects of the food, nutritious food. What are the steps to be taken, and what are the government initiatives or government, agenda or government propagandas that are being taking place with respect to this nutritious food. So basically, why this nutritious food is required? As discussed earlier, also it is required for the well-being of the individual, also the mental and well as the physical fitness of the human being. So how should we ensure this proper nutritious food is being taken in by the people or not? So basically, what is happening these days is there is a lot of change in the lifestyle of the people. Earlier days, people, be it our older generations, they used to prefer eating home food a lot. Now, the people have turned towards HFSS foods, that is high fat, salt, sugar. These two things, salt and sugar, are the basic hazardous elements which are major responsible for the non-communicable diseases in the nation, be it obesity or be it CVD, cardiovascular diseases, or be it blood pressure. So basic thing that the basic step where all these things start taking place is consumption of the food rich in fat, salt, and sugar. So that's why what first step what we need to do is try to reduce the intake of fats, salts, and sugars. And I need not tell you people, you must be aware of saturated, unsaturated fats. So try to consume high amount of HDL and consume less amount of LDL, because these low dense lipoproteins, they start accumulating in the body, and then long run they will be resulting in the cardiovascular diseases. And then this is the first step that we need to make sure that we eat less amount of high fat, salt, sugar in our diet. And second thing is, our generations have started become addicted to these junk foods, whatever. Earlier days when people were hungry, they go grab a fruit and eat, or have vegetables in their meal. But now what we people do, so I feel hungry in midnight, what I do, I go, I open a Maggie packet, cook it, eat it. So basically we are all started, uh, appetiters. What we more started to like towards mouth feel, whatever the foods that have very good mouth feel, which are very food attractive to our eyes, we people started consuming these foods. So basically these foods have, these are the have some sort of receptors which again stimulate us to eat such sort of food. Basically you must be aware of this MSG, monosodium glutamate, because of which the China has faced an issue, and also this Maggie also started to ban the tasting salt issue. So these tasting salt or food colors which are being used in preparation of manchurias, gobis, or chicken lollipop, whatever it is. So these all might be very colorful to the eyes and very appealing to the mouth, but then in long run these are carcinogenic. So what I sincerely advise you people is, try avoiding the food which has colors in it. So basically when we go to the restaurant, we order for the food which have high amount of food colors. So basically, beat myself also. My mother served me, say for example, a gobi manchuria without adding a red color to it. And other plate has a gobi manchuria which has red food color added to it. Which one I would prefer? So I would prefer the one which is having food color itself. So what we people have to do is ensure that whatever is the food we are eating, try avoiding the usage of food colors as well as tasting salt in it. Whatever is the outside food, be it these pani puri vendors, or else these noodles makers, or hotels or restaurants, wherever we go nowadays, there is a huge, tremendous amount of food colors being used by these people. So these are all like slow poisons which we are inducing in ourselves. So automatically we are filling our stomach, but then we are hampering the nutritious requirement that is required to the body, and in turn resulting in these lifestyle diseases like high blood pressure, and then hyper these this diabetes, and then cardiovascular diseases. So we ourselves are spoiling our health. So what I suggest, my second suggestion is try avoiding the foods that have high colors or tasting salts in them. And then the third thing is, whatever is the uh, food that we are eating, we are trying to use, I mean, we are eating the foods that have high amount of preservatives in them. So earlier, what it used to be the scenario, like whatever we want, we used to make it on spot and eat, or maybe 1 2 days kept in the fridge like curd and all this. But now, if you look at even the fruits, also they started to sell in terms of canned foods. I do not say those are harmful to the health, like those are not poisonous, but there is difference between eating everything in fresh versus having preservatives added to that and eat it. What happens is, these preservatives when added, there would be a little reduction in the micronutrients of the food. The same food item which is eaten fresh versus added preservatives like salt, or some other things that are added to it in order to increase the shelf life, there is difference in the foods that are being consumed either fresh or else versus the eating the preservatives added to that. So try avoiding the foods which have preservatives in them. Try eating everything fresh. Try consuming everything fresh. And then these three things. First is have try lessening the amount of fat, salt, sugar in our diet. Second thing, trying avoiding the foods having the food colors in them and tasting salt in them. And third, try eating everything fresh. These three are the first major things that we need to ensure we have in our diet in order to give ourselves a better healthy lifestyle. uh, Earlier scenario was people used to die out of starving, like you die out of hunger. Of course, now also there are people dying out of hunger. The other side of the coin is people started to die because of these lifestyle diseases, non-communicable diseases. The major reason for these is our dietary habits. So first, our motto should be changing our dietary habits and towards making it a healthy lifestyle, better lifestyle. And then drinking of plenty of water every day is very essential. At least 6 to 8 complete glasses of water has to be taken in order to ensure that metabolic activities take place properly. These help in removing the waste from the body. They also prevent the accumulation of heat in the body. We eat, but then what we do at the end, see, for example, I'll give a very simple example. I go to a restaurant. What I do, I order maybe like biryani, maybe chicken biryani if I'm a non-vegetarian, or some veg biryani from a vegetarian. What I would do, I would order a complimentary of Coke or Sprite or anything to it. So these are all beverages which have these gas beverages. No, what these are all nothing but empty calories. They give you nothing except carbohydrates. You do not have any other nutrient except calories you get out of it. So instead of that, what you do, you go for a juice, fresh juice like orange juice or something like that. So whenever you are thirst, you quench for water. So drink tremendous amount of water. Along with that, try having fresh juices in your meal instead of having the Sprite, thumbs up, all these things. These might be so simple, like which seems to be very simple to listen, but then actually very difficult to implement. But then once if we try to implement all these things in our dietary practices, automatically we would have a better nutritious intake, and which would further lead into the having a better life and longer age also, like our lifespan also would increase. So, keeping all these things in mind, we at Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, in order to propagate, enforce, and educate the people, we have come with few amounts of regulations, like Food Safety and Standards Labeling and Display Regulations 2011, So basically, whenever we go to a market, say I go for buying a atta. So whenever I go, they give me an Ashirwad atta versus some XYZ packet. So what am I supposed to see? Whenever you are going to buy any product, try looking at its best before, like when it is manufactured and when it is best before. Do not forget looking at the allergen declarations, because many people have a lot of allergens. Like some are prone to allergens of peanuts, some are prone to the allergens of mollusks, eggs. Like this, there are variety of food items that people are allergens to. So, as a responsible consumer, try looking at the allergen information on your packets before you purchase, and ensure that you buy every product in sealed manner, because what happens is this moisture accumulation, though seems to be a very little manner, this moisture also when starts, if storage practices of particular shop aren't proper, there are chances for moisture accumulation in the product, which in turn might affect the internal characteristics of the food, and the actual nutrition of that food might not be captured by us. So try ensuring to purchase foods in always sealed manner, like sealed food products itself you try to buy, and then look at the best before of the products before you buy, and also look at the allergen declaration before you buy, because if we eat foods that have allergens, suppose involuntarily if I go, some people are prone to this milk allergy also. If these people start drinking milk, their body metabolism reacts wildly, so it impacts their health also. So as a responsible consumer, look at these three things: nutritional information of the food product, and then the next thing is the best before use by date of the product, and then the third thing is allergen declaration of the product. Also, whenever you are trying to purchase a product, try linking it with the nutrition. See, now when I feel like craving for a chapati, should I go for a whole wheat chapati or refined flour paratha? My taste buds would obviously prefer paratha. But then when it comes to health point of view, nutritious point of view, try consuming products, everything which are whole rather than refined. Because when you start consuming refined foods, you have a lot of carbs in them. Carbs, they just provide you calories. But then these whole foods, they have micronutrients also in them, micronutrients also in them, which are very essential for the vital being of the body. So try eating or try purchasing the foods everything in whole rather than in refined form. Because in refined form, you people are aware of it. I need not tell you people in special. The brand is removed. Only what you people have is what we people get is endosperm. So endosperm is basically pure of carbs. So we get only empty calories out of it. Only carbs out of it. So try prefer eating this whole foods in your daily life. So, in order to aware people of the nation about all these aspects, FSSAI has come out with regulations as well as few campaigns and initiatives. Out of which, as we discussed, the first one is FSS labeling and packaging and labeling declarations, because of in which FSSAI has mandated the display of almost 14 mandatory requirements, which are very essential for a consumer before producing a product. So you people also, before producing a product, apart from these things which I have told you, other things like whether the product is veg or non-veg, vegan. So all these things, you people try to look at all the requirements and then itself purchase the product. So, and then when it comes to initiatives, our FSSA has come up with an initiative called Eat Right India. It's basically an initiative as well as Pan India campaign in which we try to perform walkathons. Recently in Visakhapatnam also at RK Beach, probably if I'm not wrong, a month ago, a walkathon has been conducted for about 3 kilometers and among that beach area, where we try to promote people and propagate about this eat right. In eat right, there are basically three pillars. We have to eat safe, eat healthy, and then eat sustainable. So what are these three pillars? This eat right campaign is based on these three pillars of eat safe, eat healthy, and eat sustainable. So what is eat safe? Whatever is the food we are eating, say for example, I prepared a chapati out of wheat grains in two different manners. In first manner, what I did is I have cleaned properly, like all the dust, everything I have cleaned, and then I have soaked it properly. I have ensured that germination happened, and then I made it, dried it, made it into a flour and proper moisture conditions maintained, and then I used a proper cleaned kadai for, pan for making the chapati, and then an oil I have used, which is very good for health, like. Refined, instead of using palm oil, I have used refined sunflower oil, groundnut oil for preparing chapati, and then I had chapati. The other way, the other way around, the same wheat grains without proper cleaning. I just made it to the floor. I made a roti, and I made a roti in a pan which is not properly clean. So what's the point in eating the second type of food? Automatically, we get there is lack of hygienic sanitary practices which are being followed, which indirectly results in bacterial entry into the body, which impacts health in a negative way. So it is not only necessary that you have to choose food properly, like nutritious food. Along with that, you have to ensure that it is being prepared under proper hygienic and sanitary conditions also, and it is free from adulteration. Adulteration is, nowadays adulteration is reduced as compared to previous days, but still there is adulteration. The main reason for adulteration is growing population. There is increase in population, but then the food which is being produced is not being able to meet the requirements of the growing population, because of which either two ways the companies are making money out of it. One, they go with adulteration, and second thing what they do is they go for adding preservatives and then extend the shelf life, thereby increase the price of the product and ensure off season availability. So in this adulteration, what they do is they try to adulterate the food with cheaper materials. For example, this red gram, what they do is they adulterate with kesari dal. Milk, they adulterate with urea, and they adulterate it with vanaspati oil, they adulterate it with water, they adulterate with, basically why this adulteration? In order to increase the amount of the food product to meet the growing population. Second thing is to mask the see in milk. Why do they basically add urea? To increase the nitrogen content. Nitrogen, which automatically implies that S7F, solid non-fat of the product of the milk. So because of these two reasons, either to increase the amount of food availability or to make money out of it, people go for adulteration. So we have to ensure that whatever the food that we are eating is also free from adulteration. For these, FSSA has come out with a DART. DART is a manual basically, which is a detection adulteration with rapid testing, which can be performed at our house itself. Almost 70 to 80 food products are covered in this. Basically, a manual of around 10 to 12 pages. You can just browse to FSSA website and then click in the search icon DART material. You get a handbook, like it's a very handy handbook. So for against every basic food product like milk, mirchi powder, and then mustard oil, mustard seeds. So every food product, how is it? With what product it's being adulterated? How do we test adulteration at our house itself? So you people can download it. Also encourage your mothers at your house also to follow certain steps before they produce when they start consuming or usage of the product. By this, you can ensure that whatever you are purchasing is not being adulterated. You spend lots of money in buying a product, but then what's the point if it is adulterated? So try to follow these simple steps in the DART manual for the basic food items, so that you can make sure that your product, your whatever is the product you are consuming is free from adulteration. So this is one of the way what in which FSSA is trying to educate people. And then the other thing is there is this HFSS reduction campaign, like where we are trying to bring in this uh, uh, movie actors, and then popular images in the country. Like recently, Raj Kapoor has also come into the picture where aaj se thoda kam. Aaj se thoda kam, from today we need to reduce the salt in order to reduce the consumption of salt in the daily food consumption. Aaj se thoda kam campaign is started. So try, whatever is the salt that you are eating.
We also there is a lot of behavior change. Honey also they are trying to procure organic honey. And then even the pulses also organic pulses have come to 24 minutes. A lot of studies have come. So try looking at these. Yeah, Jai Bharat logo if they have them or not. Or else they should have these participating guarantee certificates, KPJ certificate on that. Only then you get this confidence that the product is organic and whatever you are consuming is also organic. Then what's the point? I mean, unless and until you are able to get authenticated organic product, you're paying for organic product, but again you are consuming a non-organic product. So you have to be a responsible consumer also, educated consumer also, who looks at everything before you purchase. These small things are the behavioral changes which have to come up from ourselves. So which automatically, alarms about what we take. So once we start looking at everything what we eat and looking at the consequences of what we eat, automatically we tend to take the nutritious food itself. See, everybody knows that we have to reduce the simple carbs, we have to eat complex carbs. Everybody knows that we shouldn't eat junk food. Everybody knows we should.
Practically, why people are not being implemented? Because it has to come from through behavior. It comes only when you start looking at things in different perspective. When you look at a food product, automatically your minds start thinking in health perspective. So now I take this. So how much amount of carbs I'm going to get out of it? Am I getting the complete carbs? I mean complex carbs or simple carbs? Am I able to meet my protein requirement? Am I able to meet my micronutrient requirement? So if your mind says things this way, and if answer is no, automatically people will start consumption, start reducing the consumption. Of course, I'm not totally against this fast food, junk foods, and all. Now, once in a while is okay, but then the trend of our generation is we people have totally forgot homemade food. I'm not against this Swiggy, Zomato, and all. Of course, I do order from them also, but then we have to reduce these and prefer home foods only. Try eating home foods. Try eating seasonal foods. Try avoiding high fat, salt, sugar foods, and also try whatever try eating the food which is having less amounts of colors and then no tasting salt. These are all the carcinogens which we are slowly inducing in our body, like we ourselves are making our body poisonous through our food habits. So as a part of this nutrition week, I mean, I don't know till how far I was able to meet up with your requirements, but then I basically wanted to uh, change your mindset and come forward with behavioral change. Once if and only if our behavioral change towards the food happens, then only we can avoid this, we can reduce these non-communicable diseases, automatically increase our lifespan and lead a healthy life. So you people are the next generation, like you are the makers of the society. Apart from you people knowing, you try educating your parents also, try educating your youngsters also, like your next generation, your siblings or your next generation, whoever. Try educating people. Change should start from within ourselves, from ourselves. Then only we can make India a better nutrition society, is what I feel. So with this, I would like to thank again the Department of Biochemistry of St. Joseph College, and thank you for being patient, all the students. And sorry if I'm boring. So if you have any queries or if you want something else to be shared, you're free to go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am, for the informative session. Now the session is open for questionnaire.
Yes, you can.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. This is Radhika. Very, very nice session from a food safety officer, listening to the food safety officer in terms of choosing our food wisely. I have a question in terms of we see a lot of packaged food on the shelves when we go to the grocery store, which is like, it's expired, but it is not taken off the shelf. So, how often is the food safety officers visits to these grocery stores, and what are the measures taken in terms of disposal of these products from the shelf?
Okay. Okay, Radhika, that is actually a very informative question which everybody should know. See, basically nowadays there is a software present in every retail store, not every advanced retail store like DMart and all, where automatically the software suggests you about the expired products which are present in the shelves and they remove off. But the majority of the departmental stores or wholesale stores is they have no system to track these expiry products, because of which what happens is whenever you go out into a market you find ample amount of expiry products. We as enforcement officers, what we do is according to the act, whenever we go to a, basically our inspections are purely random and surprise visits. We do not do any pre-informed inspections, because if we do pre-informed inspections, whatever are the loopholes they try to cover it. There's no point in doing inspection. So all our inspections or rides would be surprise and uninformed audits itself. So whenever I go for an inspection or audit, basically I found a product which is expired. According to the act, what I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to seize the entire product. Whatever is the product that I find, the entire lot, I'm supposed to seize it. And then for the disposal, what we do is we go in the JC court. JC court basically is a joint collector court. We put forward ahead him based upon the stock that we have seized, the fine to the shopkeeper. Basically, in Act, the shopkeeper is called as food business operator. Based on amount of the stock that we have seized that day, around 20 times worth of that stock fine would be given to him. So basically, I have seized a stock of about expired stock of about 1,000 rupees from a shop. So his fine would be approximately 20 times. So that is 20,000 fine would be imposed to him. And then the stock would be disposed, incinerated. Basically, firing of the product would be done. And also a notice would be given to him stating that in case in future such sort of expiry products are found in the shelf, we would be taking, what do we say this, we'll be sending him to the imprisonment. So a chance of at least one or two would be given to the food business operator to ensure that expiry products are not repeated further. But if the same case repeats again, then compounded, it comes under compounded offense, and then legally he has to go. We seize the product. Compoundable offense, if it happens, he has to face the issue legally, where it will also result in closure of the shop. He has to shut down his shop.
Thank you very much, ma'am. In the same line as consumers, when we tend to see such type of things in the store, so should we also be using the same Food Safety Connect app to report such kind of findings?
Exactly. You can use Food Safety Connect app, or else right now if you are all from Vishakhapatnam itself, our office, Food Safety Office for Vishakhapatnam is present near Pedawal there, Polamamma Temple. There is government TNT hospital right beside that office of Food Safety Department Vishakhapatnam is present. So you can physically also give up your complaint over there. But now through online, if it is the way, Food Safety Connect app is the best way to go ahead.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, thank you very much. And I have one more question.
Yeah.
It was very interesting because, as consumers, we also need to take some responsibility in terms of how this food is being handled at different stores. And with respect to the rating of the restaurants, for the majority, when I go to the restaurant, I see that it is given as satisfactory. I didn't even come across any restaurant that says as good or super or like 5 star. So,
Yeah.
what is the reason behind it? Is there any reason as to why it is given satisfactory? Is there any thing I was curious to know.
Yeah. Radhika, there are two aspects of it. One could be the way of food being prepared, or the way it is being served. But majority of the restaurants issue comes in the way they prepare itself. uh, Suppose, say for example, the act, food safety standards act, says that whosoever the chef preparing the food, he has to wear hairnet all the time, he has to wear this apron all the time, he has to trim his nails, he should be free from ornaments, be it gold or silver, whatever it is. He shouldn't be using any sort of this, if the female workers, they shouldn't be using the stickers. Why these shouldn't be there? Because accidentally if this falls in the food, and then it results in contamination. So these are all the things which are to be followed, but then practically people do not follow all things. When I go for inspection, so if I ask a question, where is your apron, where is your hairnet, the simple thing they say, ma'am, it's very sweating over here, the exhaust doesn't work. So these are all the simple things which they do not follow, which automatically drops down their rating. And also the way they store the products. So basically in any restaurant or hotel, they have two things: one, the preparation hall, another is storeroom. The way they organize foods aren't up to the mark, because of which their marking goes down. So this is that preparation end. And then serving end, at some hotels what they do is they do not follow, when they do not clean the dines very frequently, and they do not use this pesto flies, that insecticutus which attract the flies. So because of which the fly that do not come from kitchen, but it comes from somewhere outside, contaminate the end prepared food. So if the hygienic practices are not followed at the serving end also, their rating goes down. So there could be two sides of it. One reason could be at preparation and other could be the serving end.
Well, thank you so much, ma'am, for the elaborate response from you. It was excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Radhika. My pleasure. So still any more queries or any information that I'm glad to share?
Ma'am, we have one more query.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. It is from Ms. Athena Paul. Good evening, ma'am. Could you explain the health consequences of consuming tasting salt? How can we identify it in the food we eat?
See, the tasting salt health consequences are basically those being the carcinogens. Neurotoxins and carcinogens. And then in tasting salt, identification as such, you cannot identify through your naked eye. And you cannot identify its presence in the food product after it is prepared. All that you can identify is only through laboratory testing. There are no rapid tests to identify the presence of tasting salt in any food being prepared.
Thank you, ma'am. Any more queries from audience? Ma'am, just 3 to 4 minutes. Since the YouTube is also streaming, there will be a lapse. So we'll be expecting some questions from there also. Meanwhile, to summarize, it's a wonderful and informative talk, ma'am, where you have given us good insight about how to approach. Like, frankly speaking, half of us, we think that, yes, some concerns should be taken, but we hardly follow them, as you said. So best part is behavioral changes of the public towards the healthy food, what you have mentioned. That's a very apt thing. Even your Dainik Bharat logo, we need to check, and about the organic food testing, Anganwadi samples also, as you said, you have gone for the checking and all. So it's a very good informative session, and we are waiting for some more questions from the YouTube session. Once it is done, we can go ahead with the closure, ma'am.
Yeah, sure.
Soumya, you have any questions? You have raised the hand.
Yes, ma'am. Wait. Good evening, ma'am. Myself, Soumya.
Yeah, Soumya, go ahead.
Thank you for this beautiful session, ma'am. Ma'am,
Hi,
nowadays, the almost all the food we consume are adulterated. How can we identify this is adulterated and some foods are not adulterated? Mainly in foods also, fruits also we can see some are adulterated and mostly consumable products, ma'am.
Okay, that's a nice question, Soumya. Yes. So, how to identify? As discussed earlier, also there are very simple techniques. Say, for example, I bought an apple from a grocery or a vendor hawker who is selling on the road. What is the basic thing that happens in apple? They coat it with a wax. A wax is basically, why do I call it as adulterant? Because there are two types of wax. One is edible wax, another is which shouldn't be edible, like inedible wax. If it is coated with edible wax, it's okay. You are free to consume. But then it